Defying all odds, Portugal's centre-left Socialists won an outright parliamentary majority in Sunday's snap general election.
Here's a summary of the article.
Lisbon, January 30. Defying all odds, Portugal's centre-left Socialists won an outright parliamentary majority in Sunday's snap general election, securing a strong new mandate for Prime Minister Antonio Costa, a champion of balanced public accounts. The result, boosted by a higher-than-expected turnout despite the coronavirus pandemic, comes as a surprise after the Socialists had lost most of their advantage in recent opinion polls, and means Portugal will have a stable government to oversee the application of EU pandemic recovery funds. After last week's opinion polls, Costa had himself acknowledged that Portuguese did not want to give him a full majority and said he was prepared to strike alliances with like-minded parties, which is no longer necessary. An absolute majority doesn't mean absolute power. It doesn't mean to govern alone. It's an increased responsibility, and it means to govern with and for all Portuguese, Costa said in his victory speech. Before the final results came in, Costa said the party had won 117 or 118 seats in the 230-seat parliament, up from 108 won in the 2019 election, and his supporters erupted in loud celebrations, singing old revolutionary anthem, Grandola, and waving flags. Still, Portugal remains Western Europe's poorest country and relies on EU pandemic recovery funds. Economist Felipe Garcia, head Informação de Mercados Financeiros Consultants in Porto, said investors would likely appreciate Costa's new strong mandate, given the government's record cutting of the budget deficit.
This post received a score of 10,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
The last polls before the election showed an extremely tight race between the center-left Socialist Party and the center-right Social Democratic Party. The Socialists outperformed their polling numbers, and it looks like it will be a landslide victory for them, securing 117 seats of the 230-seat parliament. This is even more surprising given that most people thought that even if the Socialists managed to win the most seats, they'd need to rely on smaller leftist parties to reach a majority.
Are snap elections common in Portugal? I searched and couldn't locate any others, but they might be drowned out by news about the current one. Just curious, if anyone can answer. Seems like there would be more, if it was part of the constitution or election process in Portugal.
Like most parliamentary democracies, Portugal frequently has snap elections, usually when changing circumstances cause a majority of MPs to coalesce against the government. Previously, Portugal has had snap elections in 2011, 2005, 1987, 1985, 1983, 1980, and 1979.
Thanks, the current news was really drowning previous elections. Thank you for sharing.
I mean, 2011 was a decade ago. It seems like it's become a lot less common over time.
Man, I am getting old.
Some people will say PSD didn't distance themselves from Chega strongly enough. Whatever the truth is, I believe voters left of PS decided to vote as a way to prevent Chega from constituting government. Now, a vote for any left-wing party is an anti-Chega vote, as PS would likely form a coalition with other left-wing parties if needed. But delegates are allocated per district, with smaller districts getting fewer delegates. So outside of Lisbon and Porto, the safest, often only viable anti-Chega vote would be a vote for PS. There are other factors behind PS's victory, like the generally favorable view on how PS managed the pandemic after the initial hiccups, but I think fear of Chega was the main motivating factor for people to rally behind PS.
You can just call Chega fascists, just like all the extreme right fascist minority parties that have been popping up. I am quite disappointed that they gained votes, but still, 7% is small at least, and smaller than what you usually see around Europe in the 10–20% range. The problem, and I think this boosts vote counts for all these fascists, is that when everyone else casts their vote in a strategic manner to stop them, and when everyone is talking about them, that helps them recruit. It's a tough line to walk, and frankly I think that most politicians do not walk it well enough.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.